Hi there, RC Girl here. I am back with a review of the Feiyue Brave 112 scale electric car. I think that this would be a great item to add to your Christmas shopping list. This is more of the toy grade, but I think it's great to get you started in the RC hobby. Some people bash the toy grade cars, but when I first started in RC, I got a Radio Shack car. It took like 9-volt batteries, and the parts were not replaceable. So I went into a local hobby shop with my Radio Shack car and was pretty embarrassed flopping that onto the counter, and that's actually how I got into RC, is I learned about higher end cars. Nowadays, there are cars that have replaceable parts and are under $100, so I think that this is a good option if you don't know where to start with all the electronics and what kind of kit to get and getting a charger and all that. So this is everything in it that you need. So as a new thing, I'm going to be implementing a rating system. I think this is kind of to make fairness across more reviews that I do, and if you're starting with your toy grade cars up into your hobby grade, really race level cars. I think it's going to be a valuable system as I do more reviews in the future. So I'm going to be rating on the skill level required for the car, the fun level, the suspension, the electronics, the availability of spare parts, and some of the extras included, and lastly, the value, which I'm calling your quality to price ratio. Let's get started. Let's open it up. So here we have the Feiyue Brave. So it comes with shocks, metal bearings. It comes with a high-speed brushed motor. I think in your higher-end cars, everything's brushless nowadays, but I think it might be okay when you're getting started in the sport. You might not notice the difference. Your rudder machine, I don't know why these are called that on here, but that's just your servo. Comes with a 2.4 gigahertz radio. The only thing that's not included is the batteries for that. Another cool thing is that it is all-wheel drive. It also says that it has amphibian driving, which I'm assuming that means it is waterproof, or at least splash-proof. Okay, time to open it up. All right, here we have it. Oops. So we have our little instructions packet. I'll open that in a second. Here you go. This is what it looks like. To me, this looks like a lot of fun. I'm excited to go test it out outside. I'm going to take off the body pins and open up the inside. This body's kind of cool. So if you can see in here, it's a fake guy, but it's a side profile. It looks cool. The body's kind of built like a roll cage. I think that's going to be great for any kids that are going to be pushing the car to the limits. I think it's going to hold up pretty well. And on the front view, it looks like it does have lights, but they're actually fake lights. So, you know me, I'm a stickler for lights. Alright, so we're going to open up some of the enclosed electronics. It has these little 2 hinges here. Looks like they just come open and pops open. There we have our lipo battery. It comes with the DIN connectors, just your standard 1500 milliamp lipo battery, 7.4 volts. So that's a 2-cell battery. So now let's look at what's included in our little packet here. So here we have the instructions booklet. Let's take a look and see what they give us here. Actually, do read your instructions. It gives you all of the part numbers, which I think is really, really great when you're first getting started. You can just search online for the part number and order the part that you need. If you don't know how to take off wheels, here's 2 pages about how to do that. It also comes with a wall charger. Next, we have some handy dandy tools. You might want to invest in some nicer tools, but this will get the job done. So to get inside some of these compartments, it's just a regular Phillips head screw, so you should be able to use what's included, or if you have a nicer one, you can use that as well. Can she get it out? I have lotion on my hands. Do not moisturize before working on RC. So here's the inside of the car. Here's our on and off switch. All I did was unscrew 8 screws, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 on the front. Put our little casing aside here. Here's our motor. It's kind of neat that it has this red metal heat sink on it. So if it's running hot, it'll absorb the heat and make sure that you're not going to blow your motor, which is kind of cool. Here we have our ESC, and here we have our servo. One thing that is a little concerning is that one of the screws punctured the wires as it was assembled. Hopefully that's okay and it's not going to short out. Here we have our drive shaft. I mentioned it is a all-wheel drive vehicle. All right, we have our radio here, 2.4 gigahertz. your on and off switch here. It does also have steering trim, so if your car is misaligned, and then your little trigger. So that's gonna power your motor, and the little turn wheel here. This is a nice little padded turn wheel. Let's look at the suspension now. These are non-oiled shocks, so there's gonna be no dampening. Oh God. These are gonna be your lower end springs. I'm not sure if they're upgradable. I did get a tip from somebody that you can put some really thick grease on the inside of these, so the piston will dampen a little bit. I haven't tried that. One thing I noticed is that the car is pretty flexible. I think that's a good thing when you're just starting out. You're going to crash the car a lot. Hopefully hold up pretty well. All right, let's take one of our tires off. I would call this semi-hex, semi-pin. So it looks like it's an adapter to be able to use the little pin, and that used to be standard on all RC cars. Now that's considered vintage. And now everything is just your hex wheel. So just be really careful when you take off your tires on this car that you don't lose those pieces because they're really tiny and they are not glued in place. So this is a pretty nice wheel. I really like it a lot. It has some directional tread. Seems like a pretty tough little tire. I think overall it's a nice, great entry-level little dune buggy. I think it looks cool. I like that the components inside are all protected, but you can access them if you need to. The last thing to do really now is to give it a run. It's getting a little bit darker outside, so I'll have to save the run for tomorrow. But super excited to test this out outside. I might even sneak onto the pump track and do it illegally. They're so fun. But they always say no RC. Hi there, 2 days later. I'm gonna sneak into the pump track, so looks like no one's here. Hopefully I'm not gonna get kicked off. Yeah, we'll give it a first run, see what it looks like on the track, and go from there. The radio receiver seems to handle nicely when you drive the car a decent distance away. Whee! So the tire compound seems a little hard for this loose stuff. It's kind of sliding around a little bit, but and again, this is a brushed motor, so there's a little bit of drag when I go over these little whoops. Donut test. Passes. So one thing I did notice is that if I turn the wheels all the way, it would get stuck a little bit. So I don't know if that's the servo getting stuck. Batteries seem to last about 15-20 minutes on a full charge, so that's pretty good. It's a really small lipo, 1500 milliamp. It's a pretty responsive servo for the price point. I have a rating system that I started implementing, and I'm gonna give it a little rating. So my rating system, we're gonna rank them from 1 to 5, 1 being kind of your lower end and 5 being your basically race ready car. And so as far as the skill level required, I would say this is more of your beginner car. So I would give it a 1. I think that's gonna work great for the younger kids to get them in the hobby, have everything in the kit that you need to get started. So our suspension, I would say that it's pretty stiff, not a ton of dampening. We have more of your entry-level shocks, but I think it handled pretty nicely on the track. I'd rate that at a 1, but that's to be expected for this type of car. The electronics, I would rate those at about a 2. We got steering trim on here. We have some waterproof electronics, that was cool. Our servo's pretty decent. Got a little bit stuck a few times. That might be due to the servo arm angle, so I'll take a look at that. Availability of extra parts. You can look in the manual and they have all the part numbers and they're really easy to search online. I would give that about a 4 out of 5. So the extras, so I would say about a 2 for that. We have a cool body that's reinforced with like a roll cage, which is neat. It doesn't have lights or anything, but the body inside and the electronics are splash proof or waterproof, 4-wheel drive, which is cool. The next is our value. So that is our quality to price. And I would say that the value of this is about a 4. I think it's great value. It's under $100. I'll put a link to RC Moments website below and also a discount code if you want to purchase this vehicle. And then lastly, it's just the fun level. How fun is it to just take around, bash around on a pump track that you poached? So I would say that the fun level to me was about a 4. Fun little car. It's gonna be a great Christmas gift for a few kids in my life. So I'll total those up. So hopefully this can provide some kind of comparison the more reviews that I do. Lastly, I do have a couple ideas of new videos and potential collaborations down the line with some fellow YouTubers, so excited to share that with you as it comes together. We might be doing a giveaway, so make sure you're subscribed and share this. If you're interested in participating, I will share more in the coming videos. So I'll see you guys next time. Signing out.